On the agenda tonight, we're going back to the mid-1960s. We're going to be taking a look at the Beatles, or more specifically, Paul McCartney performing Yesterday. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, this being Yesterday, it is going to be a short performance, and I'm hoping that this isn't going to get blocked on copyrights, but if it does, the link to the performance video is going to be in the description below, so you guys can click on that link. But let's see how we get on with the copyrights, and let's see how Paul gets on with this performance.
We'd like to do something now which we've never ever done before, and it's a track of our new LP. And this song's called Yesterday. And so, for Paul McCartney of Liverpool, Opportunity Knocks. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday.
And there we have it. This is one of those videos that is great to watch, considering the fact that this is one of the first performances of the song after it's been completed. I know that it was one of those songs that seemed to take a very long time to get completed, and that's certainly what the rest of the Beatles said. It was always one of those songs that popped up during songwriting sessions, and it was actually totally different to begin with, and lyrically, I think it's one of those songs that came about with the lyrics happening last, but the melody, the chord changes all happened before they had the lyrical content. I'm sure you guys all know the story about the lyrics that were put in this song just to hold its form, and it's interesting to look at it from that perspective. When we're talking about the lyrical content, the cadence, the syllables that needed to be in there and emphasized in order for the melody to come across. And it's interesting to look at that because it shows that Paul had an idea of the melody and the chords before he had the words. And the words that were put in there originally were scrambled eggs, oh my baby, how I love your legs. Not as much as I love scrambled eggs. But to put that in context, we've got scrambled eggs, oh my baby, how I love your legs. Not as much as I love scrambled eggs. So that's the words, how they were put in there in order to hold the form of the melody, but also the lyrical content once they then decided on better words to put in there, and once Paul had those words put in there, is something that I think John and Paul agreed afterwards. They had so many laughs about the scrambled eggs lyrical content that it was a bit of a shame when they had the official lyrical content in there. But this is one of those standalone songs because it is just Paul performing it without the rest of the band, and even on the record it's just him, an acoustic guitar and strings. And that string arrangement is such an important part of the song, because when you're humming along to this or singing it in your head, you hear all of those string parts come in, and then when you come to play it on the guitar, you feel like you want to put those string parts in there because they are such an integral part of the overall sound. The way that counter melody just dances along in the background behind the melodic content of that lead vocal. Just to mention that this was written by Paul, even though it's credited as Lennon-McCartney, because Paul believed in just sharing the writing around as a band, even if it was just one song that one person had written by themselves. But another thing to point out about this composition, but also the band as a whole, is that you've got Paul, who could write a great song, as this shows, but also John Lennon, who could write a great song. And then when you're looking at George Harrison as well, not only writing, but having the ability to play an instrument and sing as a frontman of a band or as an independent artist, effectively. In this band, as we know, Ringo Starr is no stranger to singing behind the mic as well. So you had a band of 4 guys who could all sing and were quite happy being at the front of the stage if needs be. So when you put that all together, a massive part of it is always going to be the writing, but having the technical ability to play an instrument to a high level and sing at the same time is a huge part of it as well. And they were the perfect storm in terms of having that writing paired with the technical ability and the singing ability to harmonize with each other. They just had everything. We are going to be busting out the acoustic guitar in a second to get through the playing that's going on here from Paul. And it's interesting the way that he's approaching it, playing the root notes with his thumb and then using his first finger and second finger just to strum those strings, and alternates between that root note and then the rest of the chord. But playing and singing at the same time, maybe a lot of people wouldn't have seen Paul even playing the guitar, considering that he'd always played the bass in the band and he was a fantastic bassist as well. So it's that multi-instrumental ability again, rearing its head. Is pretty much always the case with the top artists. They've got that instrumental ability, and more often than not, a multi-instrumental ability in order to be able to cut most of an album in the studio, if not play all of the instruments on an album, and then sing as well. So to give a quick demonstration of what Paul's playing here, when I say about using that thumb and then hitting the rest of the chord with his other fingers, we get this kind of sound. Like that. It's very soft and understated, exactly what you want in this kind of performance for this song. And just to mention a really important thing, that I'm detuned here. We've gone all the way down to D. So that means taking your standard tuning down a whole step. So down 2 semitones in order to get to the same tuning that Paul is using here, which means that even though we're playing the G shape, it's going to be another 2 frets below this if you're thinking about the tuning, so actually in F. But having said that, we're just going to refer to all of the shapes as if we're in standard tuning here, so I'll call this a G because it means that you can then jump straight into that shape if you've tuned your guitar down that whole tone. But anyway, when we have this, I mean, of course you can use your pick if you want to and alternate between that root note and then the rest of the chord. When you're listening to this song and you're not listening out for the chord changes, and you might not play the guitar or any instrument or be into the theory side of the music, it might strike you as a really simple song. And in terms of duration, it is short and it might sound simple, but we've got a lot of chords going on here and a lot of chord changes. We're going from the G to the F sharp minor, we've got a B7th in there as well, and we've got C, E minor, we have a little rundown, there's a D in there later on, A minor and an A7th. So we've got plenty of chords here, but because of the nature of the melody that's dancing over the top of the chords, you don't really take in how much is going on. Playing the acoustic guitar, you've got nowhere to hide as well. So it means that if Paul was playing these chords and going and getting some nasty buzzing going on, you wouldn't be able to avoid that, and it might put a little bit of emphasis on the guitar chords rather than listening to his voice and the way that he sings it so accurately pitch-wise but so softly. He's just sitting in that really light head voice kind of coordination vocally, and it's so easy to listen to. So just jumping into the chords very quickly, we've got our G into our F sharp minor, and interestingly you can jump into the B7th there on the 2nd fret, but Paul doesn't do that, so we'll copy exactly what Paul's doing here. He jumps down to the majority of the chord being on that 2nd fret, and your first finger on the 1st fret of that D string, and we go into the E minor. And you might want to throw in that little rundown on the D string. So that was E minor, and then that D to the open D string. So we're actually starting on the E, down to the D, into a standard C chord, into the D, into a G, and a little rundown here, and possibly into that E minor 7th. I'm keeping my 3rd finger and little finger up at the top here because I like the transition going to the A7th there and keeping that little finger on the 7th on that high E string before then getting into our C, back into the G. But there's plenty going on there. We've also got that amendment to the chord progression where the A minor comes in a little bit later on. So effectively we're starting on our F sharp minor into our B7th. We've got our E minor, run down, C, B on the A string. You want to keep that going down into the A minor, into the D, into the G. And you might want to throw in that little run. That's what the strings are playing. And we go back into the F sharp minor, B7th again, same rundown. And now, possibly, that's going to be an A minor 7th rather than a straight A minor. So just take off your 3rd finger, into the D, now into the G. And you might want to throw that in before then starting again. It's sometimes tempting to throw in a little bit of the strings as part of your chord, and because it's such a quality composition in the first place, it's always going to sound nice and just really melodic. An example of that is where we have our G that we go, and now when we jump back into that F sharp minor, if you played it with an 11th in there, and just leave that B string open, you can go all the way across if you want to. It just got such a nice sound before then getting into that B7th, and again. But you don't need me to tell you how popular this song is, was, and forever will be. It was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1997. It was also voted by BBC Radio 2 here in the UK as the best song from the 20th century. It was also named as the #1 pop song by MTV and Rolling Stone magazine. It's been covered by over 2,200 other artists. So it is one of those songs that really does show you there are no rules when it comes to writing songs, because the original is only 2 minutes and 3 seconds in length, that original record. So on paper, people might look at that, and record executives might have looked at that and think, oh no, it's too short. We need to make it around 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes. But a great song is just a great song. It doesn't matter how long it lasts or how short it lasts. It's all about the melody, the connection, the lyrical content, and this song is a great example of all of those things, while being a little bit more complicated than I think a lot of people give it credit for, because of the chord progressions that we've got going on and the amount of chords that we've got in this song. Thank you guys for requesting this video for me to take a look at, and keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!